right. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back, Giants fans, to another episode of Talking Big Blue with JQ. I'm your host, Jack Quateraro, and on today's episode, I have the host of Talkin Giants here and the host of Talking Sports, Bobby Skinner here. He's one of my good buddies, and he's one of the first people to really help me launch this podcast. So, Bobby, I just want to thank you, and I appreciate you a lot. So, Bobby Skinner, my man, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I said to you before the show, it feels like I was just on the pod a couple of weeks ago and I was scrolling through my Skype messages to find you. I'm like, oh my, I had to scroll through like 30 people. So it's been longer than I had originally thought, man, but it's fun coming on because I come on with you separately and then me and Justin, but me and Justin both came on and then Justin came on separately.
Yeah, so it was you and Justin at first, Bobby, and then I had Justin on. I've had Justin on a couple of times now, so I was like, I gotta, get Bobby back on the show a couple of times because I had him and Snacks once, and then Justin by himself. So now
For
I
sure.
just get you, I just get all of Bobby Skinner. So I'm super stoked to have you on.
Sounds good. We can have fun without Justin here.
Oh yeah, I know. We'll have fun with Justin. He'll have to listen to this later. He'll be upset, but him and Snacks are in a contest to see who will be on my show more. So it's kind of interesting because they're both tied at 3 now. So maybe Bobby, between you and I, we'll have you on a couple more times before training camp or the season really kicks off, and then they'll get really triggered about that one.
Your show's gonna be like the Saturday Night Live of like Giants podcast, where like they have like stats of who's hosted it or been a guest the most amount of times.
I love that idea. Let's do it. That would be funny because Justin. No, I think Nicky Snacks would be more mad, but I think it would just be super fun to do that. But I just dude, we got a couple topics to talk about today, so let's get into them. So I wanted to talk to you about this year. The NFL is going to be super different this year. Like, we've seen like, soccer and stuff like that. And now baseball is starting to, inter squads and scrimmages. There's just no fans. And like, without fans, Bobby, I feel like it just takes away from so much of the sports because, like, you get the crowds, you get the home crowd behind you, you get all the hype, it just like changes the way of a game sometimes. So, what do you think the NFL is going to really be like this year? And you can, like, whatever hot takes you want, we can say whatever we want here, Bobby.
I think with like the baseball scrimmages, like I think like a day football game, I think it's not going to be too bad because I think they're going to have like the fake crowd noise. I won't think it'd be too bad. I think it's going to be like those big night, like Sunday night football games when it's like a big moment and you just don't have like the shots of the crowd and the fans going. But I think like on a regular like second down on a 1 o'clock game, I don't think it's going to be much different. But like for baseball, like I know we're talking about football, but for baseball, like just the regular like plays are fine. But when a home run gets hit and it's supposed to be this big celebration, the Yankees or whoever you root for hits a home run and then it just goes into empty bleachers and what could be a big game, that's where it'll be weird for baseball. But for football, I think it'll be all right. But it's definitely going to be weird, man. Like I don't know what to expect until we see it. You're going to have a lot more people online through Twitter, it's definitely going to be interesting because there's people who's like are diehards, like that's their thing. Is they don't go on vacation, they go on Giants games. They go to Giants games. So it's going to be weird having a year off from that.
No, definitely, Bob. I couldn't agree with you more. It's just going to be a totally like surreal thing. I just like can't imagine like Saquon running for like a 60-yard touchdown and there's just no fans there. Like, as the crowd just picks up its roar and it's just like everyone just like, it blows up and it's just so electric. So I'm just, really just surprised to see what happens. But I think it's going to be interesting. And, they came out with that statement, the Jets and Giants yesterday, that's saying there's going to be no fans at MetLife this year. So that's a real bummer for us because I know you want to go to training camp and so did I. Just, go see some players and obviously just enjoy ourselves and you go see the Giants play and stuff. But, man, it's just, Bobby, I just don't know what to expect. I feel like I'm, like, excited, but I just want it to happen. So if there's going to be no fans in a stadium, Bobby, that's okay with me. As long as football happens, I'm very excited for that too. And like you said, Bobby, the night games, it's going to be interesting because like those like, Sunday night primetime games or obviously the Giants have a Monday night game week 1 against the Steelers. So that's supposed to be like a big primetime night game. And now it's just, no fans are going to be there. So I think it's really interesting.
Two big franchises, like the Steelers always travel well and it's like there's no home field advantage there. You're not going to have the Steelers, raiding the Giants Stadium, the MetLife Stadium parking lot. It's gonna be just really awkward, like especially when the games start to really matter towards the end of the season and then the playoffs and like I mean just imagine the Super Bowl next year. There's just like no fans there. That's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, that's what I actually was going to ask you that because I was asking my buddy today. I was like, are they just supposed to like have the Super Bowl this year with no fans? Like that's like what like mind boggles me because I like obviously any other sports championship like NBA's in the bubble, so no one's going to be allowed in there anyway. But just like the Super Bowl, like it's supposed to be in Tampa Bay this year too. So I wonder like what's going to happen. Like imagine your team makes it to the Super Bowl and you can't even like go to see it because now of COVID and stuff like that.
That's the thing. The Super Bowl week is like a thing. You know, it's not just the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl week. And I was planning on going this year. And hopefully like being able to do stuff for John Boy Media because I'm in Florida. But like if there's no Super Bowl week, there's gonna be no media day. It's just gonna be like a regular football game, and then there's gonna be no ceremony, no maybe they'll do a halftime show, but there's gonna be no fans there. It's gonna be what I mean. Hopefully this gets figured out by February and they can do fans. But I mean, right now it just looks super sketchy, and it just seems like there's no end in sight with this. Like with this whole virus, you have everyone talking, but it's like I don't think anyone really knows what's happening. I think we're all just kind of playing it as we go. And everyone likes to feel like they know, but it's like I just have no clue. I'll wear my mask, social distance, but I have no idea what I'm supposed to do besides that.
I know, dude. That's like what everyone's been telling us to do. You see it on the news and on TV. Wear your mask, wash your hands, like wear gloves out when you go to the supermarket or whatever. Like, Bobby, I saw the other week I was in the supermarket. I saw a lady like taking the plastic bags that you pick up like your apples and fruits in, and she was
Yeah,
just using those to pluck all of her items like off the shelf and stuff like that. So I just
kind
thought
of
it was
smart.
pretty
I
cool.
like it.
No,
It's just the
it's very
unlimited masks,
yeah, it's
or
very smart.
unlimited gloves.
I just thought it was kind of funny though, because I'm like, oh my god, like look at this lady. But I was like, you know what? She's kind of being like safer than probably all of us. But it's just like the guidelines are interesting because like I just the Jets and Giants they already made their PR statement about the no fans at all. But like if this gets better somehow and hopefully a vaccine comes out, like what like would they allow fans back in the stadium? You think at some point, or you just think this whole year's a wash, Bobby?
They said that like they'll play it by ear, but I'm pretty sure the regular season's a wash. I just don't see how you can do like halfway through the season and everything's gonna be scrutinized like crazy. It's an election year, so everyone's going to be heated by that time. I mean, everyone's going to be against each other. I think they're viewing it. They're hoping some kind of miracle happens, but I think they're just planning on this whole season being a wash. But they don't want to completely close that door just in case this whole thing just does go away out of thin air somehow because we have no idea what's going. Like we've never been through a full year of this virus.
No, we haven't, and it's just interesting to see how it all unfolds. Because I remember at first, New York, where I'm from, it was just like super bad. Like my hometown, right next to us, New Rochelle, like that was the epicenter of the virus for a little bit, like at that time. So like my parents were freaking out and stuff. And Bobby, you're all the way down in Florida, so I just want you to explain to like the viewers and stuff. What was it like, before, and now all of a sudden, like you guys have started ramping up in cases and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was. I think Florida kind of gets its rap as like the crazy state, and it's true. We do things a little crazier. We have
Yeah,
our loons. I'm one of them. But in New York, it was going crazy, and then here, we shut down beaches and stuff. Restaurants, bars, everything was shut down. We were wearing our masks and stuff. For the most part, people were masks, but I would say there was about a good 30% of people that weren't wearing their masks in the store. And then it kind of got back to normal. And I went out to like the pier one day, like I guess a couple months ago, probably now. And there's a lot of people, and then I was like, okay, this is a bad idea. I'm not doing this again. It's like, yeah, I'm social distancing and stuff, but there's just a lot of people here. But now things aren't shut down here, but almost everyone has been wearing their mask for the last month. Also, it's in the bigger cities. Like I saw someone say it was like 40% was like the Miami area. Like me, I know two people who have gotten it. I know of three people that have gotten it. So we're all doing our part here where I am, in Central Florida, but like also like it doesn't feel like a pandemic, where at least with the people I know.
No, yeah, cause like a bunch of my friends, I'm obviously the younger generation, so a lot of like older people like to blame us for like spreading the virus or anything.
The worst. I will say, down here in Florida, the people that are being the most reckless at the beginning were the oldest people. Like yeah, oh yeah, like you get the videos of those spring breakers, but the old people were the ones not wearing their masks, not changing anything about their lifestyle. So I'm sure there's a plenty of dumb young people, but the old people were just as much as anybody else, if not more, down here.
Florida is just its own breed, Bobby. It's literally its own world down there. Like I feel like the people down there, like all the locals, like they're just like some people are just like it's fine, and then like when stuff really starts to happen, they're like, oh boy, like we
We
gotta
thrive in it. We view hurricanes as jokes. We're like I said, we get a bad rap, but I think we kind of deserve it because we are a little nuts.
get.
When I talk to other people, stuff I view as normal, they're like, oh my, like that's nuts, man.
No, definitely. My buddy goes to school at University of South Carolina, so anything he tells me, I'm like, that's nuts. He's like, no, this is just what we do. Like, you're allowed to ride around the flatbed of his truck, and like, you can't get stopped. Like, it's not like a law there. It's not against the law. So it's just like you can have like 10 kids in your car and like 5 kids in the flatbed of the truck, and it's like, oh, whatever. So
Yeah.
it's funny, but hopefully, this virus all starts getting better soon because I'd love to go to a game. And recently, I just saw this report at 43 minutes ago from Bleacher Report. The NFLPA has told players there will be no preseason games and rosters will be 80 players per team to start camp. So, Bobby, like, just think about this. You're an undrafted free agent. You're coming into the NFL. You're coming into training camp preseason. And now they're limiting basically some preseason play because excuse me, all of preseason. And in training camp, I saw like a report. There's only going to be allowed like 20 guys at a time in the facility. So what do you just like think about all this? I feel like it's crazy.
If they're gonna play, I think it's bad on the players' side. I think the bigger, like the players who are making the most money are the ones who are like fighting for this, while the guys that are fighting for their chances are the ones getting screwed over. And it's like, you know what? If you guys are being tested every day and stuff like that, playing 2 preseason games shouldn't affect that. Like they have their own charter plane, so it's not like they're going through Newark International to go to their games. They have their own charter planes, so they don't have to. It's not like they have to deal with like the public, and they're putting themselves at risk. So it doesn't make sense to me. And there's like a 3-week ramp up period where they're not doing padded practices. So I think guys are going to get hurt, honestly, because there's not going to be enough padded practices, and guys will get hurt in practice and stuff like that every year. But I just think it's bad, and you're giving all these guys who there's guys who should be starters or like players in the future who won't get their chance because as much as like, okay, you can expand the practice squads and stuff like that. Well, guess what? We have a draft and next year's undrafted free agent crop next year. So it's not like they're going to expand the rosters to 120 next season. So guys are just going to get flat out zero shot. And I said it on Talkin Giants the other day that you could say preseason doesn't matter, but if preseason doesn't matter, then Chad Wheeler was our swing tackle last year, and we never know who Nick Gates is. And Victor Cruz obviously is the one that's get pulled up. Ryan Connolly this year, Ryan Connolly gets no game action on after his torn ACL before that. Daniel Jones doesn't get to try out any of his new things until the games actually matter. So I think preseason does matter than more than people give it credit for. And like the starters, it's easier than a practice. You go out, you play 1-2 series, and you're done. And then the guys who like that preseason that need those reps, they get them. So I just don't get it from like any point of view because like like I said, a preseason game is easier for the starters than a practice is. The only difference is the QB gets tackled for real.
No, yeah, see, Bobby, I'm just happy like you agree with this, like I do, because like people are like, oh, who cares? Like, get rid of preseason game. Like I've been talking to a couple of my buddies, but I'm like, yo, like this like matters for so many players. Like you stated a perfect example in Victor Cruz. Like if he didn't have a preseason or like training camp, like we probably would have never saw Victor Cruz. Like he probably never would have gotten that shot. Like it's just like they need these games. Like even if it was just 2 games, Bobby, just like to get out there so the coaches and the coaching staff can just see these guys and really what they're about. Like that would just be perfect. So like Benjamin Victor, or Benjamin Victor, excuse me. Like I want to see him get out there, the wide receiver from Ohio State. So I just think it's going to be interesting to see what happens, Bobby, because like I kind of like the preseason. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of fun to watch those games.
Yeah, there's like you mentioned Benjamin Victor, and there's also Austin Mack and Derek Dillon. And I wanted to see all those 3 guys. I didn't think this would happen, but it's something I said I wanted. I wanted to see all 3 of those guys out on the field at the same time with Daniel Jones for just 10 straight reps and see where Daniel Jones looks to and feels more comfortable with. And that could be like the decision on who gets the 5th wide receiver spot. So, and we just don't get that where, you can simulate stuff in camp, but it's never going to be the same as game action.
No, it's true. Yeah, because I've heard someone talk about this earlier, And that's like, you're playing the same guys over and over again in practice. So, like, you kind of like build up like what they're about, like what kind of routes they run and like their type of like shifts moves and stuff like that. And then preseason's a whole different thing because you're playing guys you haven't gone up against at all, like, all of like training camp. So it's just like, it's another ultimate test, Bobby, for all these guys. So I just think it's like, I don't know. I feel bad for these guys. You know what I'm saying? I just want to see them go out there and ball. Like that's what it's all about. Like preseason's where you really get your shots. Make the team, or hey, who knows? Maybe you'll be a week 1 starter.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely gonna miss it. I'm more of a preseason fan than most, but so I was going through like old preseason memories today because I'm a psycho with this Giants stuff.
I love it, dude. You got to do. I look back at Saquon's, first play from scrimmage at preseason, a 39-yard, rush against the Browns, and like I saw that play, and I'm a big Saquon fan, so I was like, oh, this kid, like I knew he was legit, but I was like, oh, here it is, like even though it's preseason, but he's still shifting defenders and putting them on their asses, so it's funny to see that. But as we're talking about these rookies now, Bobby, like who is your favorite rookie? Would you have to say? Because there's so many good ones between Holmes, Xavier McKinney, Andrew Thomas, Shane Lemieux, like Matt Parra. Like who is like your favorite guy coming into training camp?
So my favorite rookie. That's what you like. I'll go Andrew Thomas. I know it's the easy one, but I love Andrew Thomas. Can I go for a late round rookie? I'll go with. I'll say Tay Crowder. Now he was a guy I was looking forward to seeing playing in preseason because he plays fast and I want to see it. And I think he should be the 4th inside linebacker on the team. So I'll go Tay Crowder, Mr. Irrelevant, who I like a lot.
Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant. Wasn't he also a running back a little bit at Georgia, like in his first 2 seasons?
And then so he transferred his position. And I have a soft spot for guys from transfer positions, especially when they change to inside linebacker, because I think the inside linebacker position needs to change going forward. That's why a guy like Isaiah Simmons was so tempting. So I look for guys that are fast and aggressive, and that's why I like Ryan Connolly so much. And I think Tay Crowder is similar to that.
Or even Cam Brown. I mean, he might not have like the thickness, but he's like 6'5" and like 2 something. So he's another guy I see like a speedster who can make a lot of plays on the defense. But who knows if he'll get his chance now because of he's a later round pick, and also like with training camp being slimmed down and now there's no preseason. So it just sucks, Bobby, because I want to see these guys all get a chance.
Right. Yeah. Cam Brown's another one. It's like, how does he fit in the NFL? Where do they play him? I mean, obviously they're going to have their stuff in practice, but as fans, like we want to see it. Like I get that, like we're not decision makers or anything, but it's fun to talk about, and it's going to suck that it's just going to be really going off of the word of mouth of beat writers.
No, it does, because it gives us some content to talk about. And it's like, oh, like, Tate Crowder did this today in practice. He had like a pick 6 against Daniel Jones, or what I'm saying? Like just something like along those lines is pretty sick. But I gotta go with, I like Matt Parra, because I was talking to Anthony Rivardo about this kid before the Giants drafted him. He's like, he goes to UConn, so he's local in my area because I go to Quinnipiac, so he goes right to UConn, and Quinnipiac doesn't have football, so I just think it's so cool that like a UConn kid, he's a huge kid, he's like 6'7", 6'6", and he's just like he's just like an agile offensive lineman. I just think it's like the coolest thing, and I really wish he got like a shot, to see him go out there and play, because honestly, I've heard a lot of people say like he's more of like a developmental piece, Bobby. He might not play a lot this year, but like as just a fan, I just want to see what he's about and how he does. Like get him some reps here and there. Maybe not in a game, but maybe in preseason games. That's where the whole preseason thing comes back to.
And like you said, we keep on going back to preseason, but like it's not necessarily for this year. Like we get to see what Matt Parrott's like in preseason. Like, okay, that's what he needs to work on. That's what he needs to get better. And you feel more confident going into the 2021 season. But yeah, Matt Parrott, man, he's an interesting player. Like you said, like he has like a basketball player's like movements. Like he can move pretty quickly. He's obviously got some things to work on. Like I don't think he's ready to start, right away. But I mean, he was definitely drafted for the plan to start, in year 2 or whatever.
No, absolutely. That's what I think it was. And I think this whole draft class was awesome, top to bottom. I loved every guy. Like Carter Coughlin, I love him too. And edge rusher, we don't really have a dominant edge rusher. And if Marcus Golden doesn't come back at outside linebacker and edge rusher, like it's just going to be interesting. And that's actually coming up soon. It was supposed to be tomorrow, but now since training camp is pushed back, isn't it like a couple more days, Bobby, now until
the 28th? Yeah.
So if he is still not signed by the 28th by another team, he's on like a $5 million like 1 year deal, correct?
Yeah, which I never even knew about that tag until that happened.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know about that. I actually covered an article now, and I was looking at it, and like my boss Alex is like, "This is like what it's called," and I was like, I was reading it, and I was like, I've just never heard this before. So like I looked it up and saw what it was, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But like, Justin talked about this too to me and on one of your episodes. Like I kind of feel bad for the guy because he had double-digit sacks last year, and that's how you earn your money, Bobby. But now you're kind of like stuck in this whole case here. I just feel like it's not like the best of the options for him. But I don't feel like another team's after him. I feel like we'll get lucky, Bob. I feel like Giants fans will get lucky and we'll have Marcus Golden back this year.
Yeah, it's weird to see what has happened with that position. Clowney's not signed. Jordan Jenkins was a guy a lot of people liked, and then he signed for cheap. So I think it's just that, like, I do feel bad for him, like but also at the same time, it's like he's gonna get paid $5 million this year, so I don't feel too bad for him. But I would like to see him get a long-term deal somewhere.
No, yeah, and it's just like you said, $5 million. It's like obviously you think of some NFL contracts, you don't think it's a lot, but then you sit down and you're like, $5 million is $5 million. Like that's a lot of zeros, and that's a lot of money to be spent. Or just oh my God, I just think it's insane. Like look at Patrick Mahomes now; he's making like $97 a second once that whole contract starts up, or like a minute, excuse me. And I was like, this is just. I mean, it's not fair. I feel like I'm jealous. I'm just like, dude. I'm like, this guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. That's how I feel. I'm just like, wow. I'm just like, good for him. It's just like, but where does that money come from, Bobby? I'm just like, I don't know. I'm like, where does this money come from?
The NFL's a moneymaker, man. It's crazy to think about. Like, I'm all for those guys making as much money as they possibly. Like, they're the best at their craft. Like, I don't like when people get on players for making money. It's like, well, they're the best at their craft. So why are you mad at them for that?
Yeah,
but I do think it's like Patrick Mahomes could do something where it just wouldn't really affect him, and it would change somebody's life, And I think he is the kind of guy who will do that kind of stuff. But it's crazy, like he could just not even have a dent now in his bank account, and it would just like change somebody's entire life. It's nuts when you think about how much these guys are making.
It's insane.
But good for them though.
I know, good for him. He earned it. He deserved it. I mean, he came back in that Super Bowl game. I honestly thought they were going to lose. They were down, 2 scores, 10 points. And the 49ers were 3 and out 2 times in a row. And I was like, wow. I was like, this is just a legit game. So that was just, really cool. And it's really cool how all these contracts work out. But, as we're, continuing to talk about the G-Men, I just want to talk to you because I know you're a big offensive line guy. I know you loved Andrew Thomas. I saw your draft reaction to the Giants drafting him, you and Justin. Like, I thought it was great. I did my own too, and I was super stoked about Andrew Thomas. So what do you think, like, if you had to predict right now, like, who's gonna be like at like the starting offensive line? Because I heard, like, I saw an article today that like Nate Solder may be like affected by everything, like how this whole COVID thing's going, and like if he'll play or not. So what do you think about this all?
I didn't see that. I didn't see Solder say anything like that. Do you want my prediction, or do you want what I want?
What you want. I'd rather know what Bobby's going to want.
Yeah, give me what I want, because I don't want to talk about what I think's going to happen now, because it's just going to bum me out. What I want is Andrew Thomas at left tackle, playing from day one. He was the best offensive tackle in this class. He played left tackle. He shut down guys like K'Lavon Chasen, Romeo Okwara, Josh Allen. He shut those guys down. Left guard, Will Hernandez, obviously. Right guard, Kevin Zeitler. And then right tackle would be Nate Solder with a battle with Cam Fleming or even Parrott. Like, I don't think Parrott's ready, but say he is, let him go. And then I would put Nick Gates as center. I think Nick Gates needs to play. He showed me enough last year where we don't have a good enough offensive lineman to have a guy like that on the bench. That being said, if they don't feel comfortable with Nick Gates playing center, they want to go with Pulley, then let Gates battle with Solder for right tackle, and I think he could win that.
Mine is very similar to you. I got Andrew Thomas no matter what, day one, starting at left tackle, because they said they needed a pure left tackle, and that was the guy they drafted. Like, he was the only one out of those 4 top guys who was really like a pure left tackle. So
yeah, he literally can't be worse than what Nate Solder was last year.
I know.
So it's like, if he struggles, okay, but it's not as bad as last year.
You know what's interesting, Bobby? Before I continue with my list, I've been making some highlight clips. I've been watching a lot of NFL Game Pass, and just like some of the plays, like I'm not trying to bag on Nate Solder, but just some plays he just gets beat so bad, off the jump. And I'm just like, damn. I'm like, what the hell's going on out here?
It's so bad because I was just doing the same thing because I was going back through film for our player profile series. And I was watching Sterling Shepard on Sunday and just Nate Solder's like, come on, dude. Like, this is embarrassing. And I was watching Caden Smith yesterday. And again, like, I was like so impressed with Caden Smith's blocking against the Packers. And then I'd watch the same guys just blow past Nate Solder. It's like, come on, give me something more than this, dude.
I know it's crazy to think about that. I know he's going through a lot. Obviously, it's just like you see some plays and you're just like, oh my! It's like wow, he just like there was no chance. Like and like my buddy always jokes with me. He's like, yo, Chase Young versus Nate Solder, like it's good night. Like it's over. It's no contest.
Anybody
Like, no.
versus Nate Solder.
I know. I'm like, no, that's not happening. I was like, Andrew Thomas is going to be playing against Chase Young whenever they play. I don't need to hear that Nate Solder is going up against Chase Young. But back to my predictions. I want Andrew Thomas, like I said, left tackle. Obviously, Will Hernandez, left guard. For center, I kind of like Shane Lemieux, but obviously, he's not proven at center or anything. I know he played a lot of guard at Oregon, so I think it's going to be really interesting. Obviously, Zeitler at right guard. I think it's just honestly, I think it's a three-way battle between Solder and then Fleming and then maybe Nick Gates. But who knows? It could be Spencer Pulley at center or Nick Gates. I think it's just really interesting. I just want to see how it all unfolds out. Like I feel like my prediction's pretty spot on. I hope it is.
Yeah, Lemieux. I like Lemieux, but he gets me excited. But I'm not ready to pull the trigger on Lemieux quite yet.
I feel like he's better. I feel like he's known to be a good guard, so I feel like you just give him the time and wait until I guess Zeiler's probably got what do you think like 3-4 years left, or I know he's been in the league a while now, so I don't know like usually the how long a span is for a career of an offensive lineman, but I know some guys can do it really long. But those are the guys.
Look at Jason Peters. It feels like he's been in the league since I was born.
I know. And the guy on the Browns, what's his name? Joe Thomas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just like you never know how long these guys could last. So I just think, God forbid one of those Zeitler or Hernandez gets hurt, I feel like Lemieux would be a great fit at left guard or right guard.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like if one of those guys goes down, we have someone we're confident in, which is cool.
Yeah, no, I just think it's awesome that we now have lineman options to choose from. Like just not like we know anything like specifically. It's not going to be like, oh, he's going to come in and be 10 times better. It's just like, let's see what this kid can do now compared to a Zeitler or Hernandez. Because I love Hernandez. I think he's just a hog, man. I just love how he just beats the crap out of people and he just chirps everyone. I just love it, dude. I love how he plays.
Yeah, I think he's going to have he didn't play great last year, but I think it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. I think he's going to have a really good year this year.
No, I think so too, man. I really think so. And I think hot take, I think we'll see a little improvement from Nate Solder. I just hope it's not at left tackle though. You know what I'm saying, Bobby? I hope it's at right tackle.
I hope so. I'm not putting any eggs in the Nate Solder improvement basket.
I know I had to say that though because I know how you feel about it all and stuff like that. So, but I just think it's going to be really interesting, Bobby, because I love the way the New York Giants offense is set up, and I love Jason Garrett. I think he's going to do great things, and I got another hot take for you, Bobby. So let me know when you're ready for this one because I really like this one.
Give it to me.
All right, Evan Ingram. You keep Caden Smith at tight end, and you got Toilolo as a backup, blocking tight end, and then you put Evan Ingram out wide and just have him at wide receiver this year.
I think you can pit Evan Ingram around at wide receiver, but as a full-time wide receiver, I don't know. Then he loses his advantage of his speed against linebackers and safeties and stuff. Maybe it could work, and I think they should do plays like that. But I don't
slot or something, or just move him around, spread him out wide.
He played a ton of slot at Ole Miss. It's just I don't, especially when you have that trio already. I like I said, I would like them to do reps like that. But I'm not sure I want just Evan Ingram just being a flat out wide receiver.
That is a good point because if he's playing tight end, he can just he'll be up against a D end or an outside linebacker, and his speed is just like he ran a faster 40 time than Saquon by a half a second, whatever the hell it was.
He was balling until he got hurt. Unfortunately, he got hurt, but he was you think about the first game against Dallas, he had over 100 yards and touchdown that game. The Buffalo game, he was good. The Tampa game, obviously.
Great.
He was making plays.
I love Evan Ingram. And all my buddies give me crap who are not Giants fans. They're like, oh, this guy's always hurt. You guys should just get rid of him. And I'm like, I'm like, just give him a chance. If he could stay healthy for 1 year, I'm telling you, he'll put up big numbers. Like, I really think of him as like a George Kittle, not as like as great as George Kittle can be, but I think he's got like the skill set just to be like, one of those top 5 tight ends in the league. Like, I just need him to stay healthy, Bobby.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, it's interesting. I had to mention that too because I've been thinking about it. I was like, what if this kid could just be like a sick wide receiver? Because the Giants don't really have one of those like big body receivers. Like Cody Latimer was like the last one last season. Really, Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard a little undersized, but like they can still go up for the jump ball. But it's not like one of those receivers you have who's like 6'3", 6'4", going up for a jump ball like Plax or something.
Yeah. Yeah. We need somebody like that. Hopefully Slayton could be a little bit of that too.
Oh,
But
100%.
it's not going to be like Plax.
I know, yeah. Plax was just a different breed. I loved him. I was looking at some of his highlights the other day, and I was just like, this kid could just do it all. I just love him. But as we're just wrapping up this episode and stuff, I just wanted to ask you. I asked like everyone this question on the podcast at the end of episodes. So I just wanted to ask you if you got to think if the season happens, obviously with everything that's going on, what do you think the Giants' overall record is going to be? And I want like just like a straight up answer. Like what do you want it to be, and what do you like think it's going to be? So we'll split it up. Excuse me.
I get asked this a lot. I always say I'm a 1-0 guy every week kind of guy, or a 1-0 every week kind of guy. So that ends up with a 16-0. But on a realistic level, with a lack of camp, no preseason, I think the offense is gonna put up points. Like I really do. It'll be how much has Daniel Jones developed, and especially on the fumbles, like the turnover side, like how much has Jones developed? Because I think this offense is very capable of putting up points and winning games. But I don't have a lot of faith in the defense. You're asking a lot of guys to make a big jump, and I just don't know how. Like maybe some of them are, but to ask all of them, I think there's going to be weak spots that get attacked, especially with DeAndre Baker, probably not going to play. So my reality one will be 7-9, but the offense makes me want to say like 11-5 and just say screw it, we're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to LPG about that yesterday. He was like double digits no matter what, and I was like, I love that you're saying this. Like it fires me up because like that's how I feel. And like like the defense, Bobby just made a great point. Like that's like the point, like that we got to emphasize. It's just like can the defense hold its own, or can the Giants offense put enough points to keep up with their defense giving up points? So I think it'll be interesting. I think Daniel Jones is gonna have a great year in year 2. I really do. I know my buddy always used to talk about sophomore slumps because Baker Mayfield, his quarterback, went through it. But I was like, Baker's a bum. I was like, Daniel Jones is not a bum. So I think it's just gonna be really interesting. I want to say like 10-6, or like maybe like.
If someone asked what I said, tell them I said 16-0.
16-0, absolutely. Yeah, well, Bobby he said 16-0. Oh, okay, that's fine with me. Perfect. Yeah.
So winner. I just try to keep a winner's mentality. It's the dumb athlete in me.
I mean, I love it because like I tell my buddies, I would before Daniel Jones like went in, I was like, Eli's gonna play the first 3 games. We're gonna go 0-3, and then Daniel Jones is gonna come in and win all 13 games, and we're gonna go 13-3, and we're just gonna ride into the play. And my friends thought I was nuts, and then like when he won the first,
you were.
What's up?
I said you were nuts.
Yeah, I know, I was nuts. Yeah. And I was like, oh, he won his first 2 games. I was like, watch out, here he comes. And just the roller coaster of the New York Giants season goes.
I was talking about that with Snacks the other day on our show, and we were talking about that Minnesota game after Jones won his first 2 games, and we were just on cloud 9, man. It's like this guy's just. What if he just goes undefeated for his entire career? It's like it was that. It's crazy how high we were after those first 2 games, and then we lost 9 in a row afterwards.
I know, but it's just it's a part of the sport. You gotta support your boys as always. I just think it's insane. And yeah, I honestly forgot about this offseason, Bobby. It's just been a roller coaster of emotions for Giants fans. I mean, honestly, for the draft, I felt like we started off great. It was great. And then the DeAndre Baker situation happened like back in, late March, early April. So I don't even know what's going to happen with him. I think he's gone. What do you think? I think he's just.
At first, I thought he was staying. I was on the DeAndre Baker is staying case. But with that New York Post article that came out a couple weeks ago where there's the screenshots of direct messages of them paying people off. I'm like 90% sure that he's done now.
And like, is that just it for his career? Like, is he like? Because like I don't know. I feel like
if he doesn't go to jail, which is a very good chance, I think somebody will give him like a come to camp 1 year kind of thing. And if he works out, it works out. Because I mean, the NFL, They'll always try and. I mean, look at Alden Smith. Now, DeAndre Baker's not Alden Smith, but Alden Smith had all that stuff. He hasn't been in the league for 5 years, and the Cowboys are still giving him a chance.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And then our boy Rosas, our kicker, now with his whole situation, that I feel like he has a. I don't even know. Like I don't even know if I can say he's coming back.
I think he is. I mean, he didn't get a DUI, and that's what everybody thought when it first happened, and he just doesn't have a DUI charge. So I think he'll play. Maybe he'll get a couple games suspension, but I definitely think he's going to play.
Like Golden Tate, how he had that 4-game suspension at the beginning of the year for taking whatever pills he did or supplement or whatever it was.
It feels like yesterday we were recording an episode of Corey Coleman tore his ACL, Sterling Shepard broke his thumb, and Golden Tate is probably getting suspended all in one episode. That was like the second episode of camp last year.
And that was literally like the first day of camp. I'm pretty sure I went to the first day of camp. I'm pretty sure I was there when Corey Coleman, tore his ACL. It wasn't like a big scene or anything.
And he practiced afterwards. Like he tore it, he practiced, he finished practice, and then the next day, I remember it was on a Friday. I remember it like it was yesterday. Get the news that Corey Coleman tore his ACL, and then the next, 30 minutes later, we're talking about like maybe bringing Kelvin Benjamin in.
Yeah,
it was a wild day.
I remember that. That guy is an interesting one. I remember him on Carolina and then Buffalo. So. But Bobby, man, I just, that pretty much sums up the episode. We covered some awesome topics, and I just want to say, man, like I always appreciate you coming on, and thanks for, helping me build this platform that, I have so far. I really just appreciate it, man.
Hey, we appreciate you, Jack. You're a big supporter. I remember when we tried to raise money for, the LGBT, the St. Joe's for the softball game. I know you were a big a giver in that, and you didn't ask for any credit, so I want to give you a little credit for that, man. I always appreciate your support, man. Anytime you want me to come on. And, we did that big episode a couple weeks ago, and we made it strict for people who've been doing it for over a year just because we didn't want to go too crazy. So next year when we do that episode, Jack, you'll definitely be on.
I'm ready. Whenever you need me, because like my year anniversary of the podcast will be like, I think like late September, October. So, I'm getting close to that year mark. But yeah, you think about it, you see so many guys now on Twitter that probably hit you up or just you see like they're starting a podcast or something. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm happy like, you get to see more people's, content and stuff like that. But obviously I love you guys over at Talkin Giants and John Boy Media. Like, and of course the charity thing, like it was, the least I could do. Like I saw what you guys were raising for, and like I was talking to LPG yesterday. Like, he said like just canceling the event. Like, the softball charity sucked, but, it was the best thing to do. And he's like, I made the right decision, but it was kind of hard to do that. And I was like, I understand, but, you did the right thing. The virus got so out of hand that it would have been so unsafe to have everyone there. But, it's the least I can do. I always rep your sweatshirt and stuff like that. And then, it sucks. I wear it in my house because, it's nice and air conditioned, but I can't go outside with it and you rep it. But, I'm always supporting you guys, and I always will. And you guys have helped me out so much, man.
Appreciate it, Jack.
Of course, man, of course. But Giants fans, I just want to say thanks for tuning in to another episode of Talking Big Blue with JQ. I'm your host, Jack Corrar, and we'll catch you all in the next episode. And I hope you guys are all, staying safe and healthy, and we'll see you soon.